Dimelang, Lisedi. Hello everyone and welcome to the one-on-one sessions with Coco Musore. And I'm your host Coco. I'm giving you guys tips, lessons and teachings on everything spirituality. Okay, it's been a while. Like I literally haven't posted anything in 2 months. And yeah, I know you miss me. I miss you guys too. Anyways, let me get serious. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Ngaka Tshupye. What is Ngaka Tshupye? What do they do? How do you know you're one? And all those kind of stuff regarding it. It's going to be a very short video because I only have like a limited knowledge on them, but I feel like it might be useful to a certain extent. Okay, so in my own personal opinion, I'll say that Ngaka Tshupyes are the first healers. Okay, and the reason why I'd say this is because these are people that look to the earth for guidance, that look to the earth for healing, that look to the earth for everything. And one thing I've also learned recently about them is that they were able to astral project in manners or ways that we currently cannot. Like they were able to connect with the earth in ways that we could not. And it's pretty much understandable because there's a lot of things that actually interrupt the spiritual realm right now, like the things we eat, the environments we're in, a lot of things. Like we are isolated from nature in a sense. Like most of the places like vacationing, the neighborhoods and whatnot, they don't really have a vast exposure to nature as our people did back in the old days. And I believe that's one of the reasons why they were able to connect with spirits in a way that they did back then as opposed to now. Okay, so Ngaka Tshupye is someone who has a vast knowledge of herbs. They understand herbs to the depth. They know herbs. They understand everything about herbs. I don't even know how to emphasize on this. They are herbalists, to be specific, because right now I'm a Sangoma, and you'd find out there's another Sangoma. There, most of the times when we are not Ngaka Tshupyes, there are instances whereby this particular person knows this herbs and I know this herbs, and our knowledge may not be the same, or we may not know every single herb there is. Né? So with Ngaka Tshupyes, these are people that have a vast knowledge of herbs. They know a lot about herbs as compared to usual or normal Sangomas. Né? Not saying that they are not normal, they're very normal. Then and also another thing about them is that they do not undergo initiation. They don't undergo any form of initiation. They don't need a kobela. They don't need guidance from any sangoma or whatnot. What the thing about them is that they are taught by their ancestors. All of the knowledge that they have, their ancestors tend to teach them. And with this partner, I want to emphasize on this thing. Ne? So if you guys heard my last video, I was talking about the Nzunza spirit. Ne? And one thing I spoke about them was the fact that they are taught by their ancestors. Okay, so this is the exact same thing with Ngaka Tshupye. So people with the Nzunza spirit can also be classified as Ngaka Tshupye to a certain extent because of the main fact that they do not undergo initiation. They are initiated by their ancestors in different ways and methods. Even though in most cases, Ngaka Tshupye, what happens is that their ancestors teach them through the dreams that they have. There are people that have dreams more constantly as opposed to other gifts and whatnot, other spirits and whatnot. Ne? Number 3, they do not have or use the Taula in most cases. Emphasize on the words in most cases. There are some that actually use divine bones, but most of the times, Ngaka Tshupyes are devil the Taula. They can pretty much help a person like when the ancestors come to them and say, "What? Okay, this person's problem is this, this, and that." Ne? This is like, so you're gonna need to use this particular herbs and whatnot. So most of the times but like I said, in most cases, so there are instances whereby Ngaka Tshupye, but they use divine bones. Okay, number 4, babona kalefatla and herbs only. Okay, yeah, like I said, they see through their intuition, through their visions and whatnot, and they use herbs most of the time. They use herbs mainly. So I've never encountered a Ngaka Tshupye that actually uses water. I'm open to the idea of it. I'm not gonna say that I know a little too much about them. If there is any, kindly let me know in the comment section, because from what I know, they are mainly focused on traditional African herbs, and most of the times the herbs that they use to help people, they are like they are supposed to go dig them up themselves, because right now we know what herbs are everywhere. Fra, you go to Indian center, there are herbs in every single corner, and we don't have to go to the woods anymore to dig them up. But with Ngaka Tshupye, most of the times they're required to use herbs that they actually dig out themselves, that they've actually dug themselves. Okay, number 5, their ancestors cannot be evoked. Okay, what I mean by this is that we all see sangomas everywhere, ne? We all see them, and we've seen them through initiations whereby they're initiating and their ancestors come through during malopo or any instance whatsoever. They come through and they're speaking their piece and whatnot. But with Ngaka Tshupye, that's hardly the case. Their ancestors do not get evoked in that manner. As a matter of fact, I'd say that the spirits that that govern Ngaka Tshupye are spirits that are considered personally as Ngaka Tshupye. Okay. By this I mean, or they do not just come out and reveal themselves to just anybody. As a matter of fact, they hardly do that. They don't scream, they don't shout. That's why one thing I like to emphasize on people is that understand the kind of spirits that you have, because as much as maybe, for example, maybe ice cream, who knows, let's say when my ancestors come through, I go all gangster, I scream and whatnot. It doesn't necessarily mean that the next person, when their ancestors are coming out, they'll do the same. Like, ancestors act differently and all that, ne? So that is where Ngaka Tshupye, that ancestors cannot really be evoked, ne? They're not even supposed to be evoked. Hence, that is why the ancestors initiate the person themselves. Because remember that through initiation, the main objective, the main thing that most sangomas, most gobelas want to do, to have the ancestors come through and talk and whatnot. But with Ngaka Tshupye, that's not the case. Okay. Number 6, Rababini Malopo. Remember that trans dance I spoke about in my previous videos? Yeah, well, they don't do that. Okay, they don't do that. They are like these people. Most of the time, they don't need to be in a certain collective of sangomas where they don't need that. Okay, they don't need gobelas, they don't need impandes and whatnot. Bona, they don't dance divine the trans dances and whatnot. Malopa babi. Okay. Number 7, they do not wear beads, they only wear mpiri. Okay, I think I don't have mine on. I was gonna show it to you. So mpiri is that metal bracelet. It could be brown, it could be silver, it could be brass. It's those 3 colors from my knowledge, ne? So most of the times those people, they don't wear beads, they only wear mpiri, ne? And the reason for this is because their ancestors cannot really be specified, or get this kind of ancestors and this kind of ancestors. Their spirits are very unique and very independent to a certain extent. Hence, that is why they don't have to go for initiation. So most of the times, they are not required to wear any kind of beads. They only need to wear mpiri if it's required. There are instances whereby they don't even wear it at all, because understand that sangomas are different. Now, if I leave the house without my beads on, it's going down. I'm gonna have the worst day of my life. But for them, is that thing at their ancestors, they don't really require them to wear beads and whatnot. If they want them to wear anything to represent them, kimpir, those metal bracelets alone. Okay, number, I don't know what number this is. Okay, in most cases when visiting them, you will need to tell them what your problem is so they can give you the right herbs. Okay, like I said, most of the times I'm nakalefatla. Most of the times they don't even use divine bones. And remember that most of the times as sangomas, the way that we see best is through our divine bones or through our prophetic gift, given how it is, ne? Because there are instances whereby we don't see as much and whatnot, ne? So with them, there are instances whereby in most cases for them, you have to tell them what your problem is. It's like, for example, most Ngaka Tshupyes will open like a traditional chemist, ne? And in that traditional chemist, you can go there and say, okay, Kulu, Gogo, my issue is that for example, they will give you those specific herbs for Zisho Saho. Okay, but Longana, when they give you those herbs, regardless of the fact that you told them, they will need to connect with their ancestors to understand what kind of is this or what kind of is this or it is, because remember they're all different and whatnot, and different herbs may be needed as compared to just getting the usual herbs that people get. So they still need to confirm that, but they will most likely need you to tell them what your problem is before they thingy. So one thing about Ngaka Tshupye is that they are mostly looked down upon a lot, and I feel like that is because of the fact that we are not really educated on them, and I am guilty of that. I was guilty of that at some point because I never really looked into them as much, because I was like, what is that? I only found out Ngaka Tshupye actually existed when I was initiated, when I was in initiation. So they're looked down upon. But one thing about them that I love the most is that they are very, I'd say that they are very powerful. They have a vast knowledge of herbs, and the fact that they don't even need to go and initiate, they're independent like that, that just puts them on a whole new level. And remember that back in the old days, things were different. Most of our ancestors, like, they connected with the earth to be healers. And right now, okay, things have changed. We get that we have to go and initiate, but those are the few people. They're very rare from my knowledge, because I hardly bump into anyone who I'd say working Ngaka Tshupye, but I'll say that they're very rare. And one thing about them is that even now when they come through, these are people that actually get their knowledge, their guidance, their wisdom from their ancestors, and they don't really need another healer to guide them. So if you are given the gift of Ngaka Tshupye, maybe it's someone's gonna tell you, a healer for example is gonna tell you, okay, when you don't need to go and initiate, your ancestors will guide you. That just means that you don't really need guidance from a gobela or anything else. Your ancestors will have their own method of teaching you certain things, and you are not really supposed to like get a gobela or anyone to guide you, unless if you feel, okay, I need to get this, I need to do this thing. And no one, okay, if maybe you want to find a better way of communicating with them, but that is not likely with them. They come to you, not the other way around. Okay, how do you know that Ngaka Tshupye? Okay, firstly, you dream of herbs. Like I said, they are herbalists. Everything around them, like, herbs are everything for them. Like, they are the major thing. So these people will dream of herbs. They'll be told, okay, there's a particular herb in so and so place, go get that. Once you get that, they tell you what to do with it, and that is how they work. They dream of herbs a lot. Okay, number two, when a person comes, the ancestors will show you or guide you on which herbs they need for them. So this is why Moilongore, instead of just saying, okay, my herbs for Joshua, that one, these people will be told by the ancestors specifically, or use this particular herb and whatnot. Because here's the thing, man. We are all healers, but we are all different. Okay, for example, there are people where they go to a healer and they have this particular problem, that healer will solve it with this particular herb. Okay, whereas there are others that will need to check the kind of herbs that you will need from your like for you to fix this problem, because that is how their ancestors work. They don't just pick and choose any herb they have in their dome, but they need to have specific herbs for whatever problem that you have. So that is exactly how Ngaka Tshupye in most cases, they are shown the specific herbs for a particular person given the particular problem he or she has. Okay, number three, they're always called to the woods to actually dig herbs and whatnot. So these people, like, the thing about them is that they constantly need to be digging. Okay, I won't say they constantly need to be digging herbs. They only dig herbs when they have to. But being in a very nature-like environment sort of like helps them a lot, because, like I said, they are connected to the earth more than most healers are. So they need to be in tune with it, and they'll always have this urge. Okay, so when they're constantly, like, they always have this craving, this sensation of, I need to go to the woods, I need to go and dig herbs. That is them. So when you find out, okay, you have a spiritual gift, you are not really supposed to like have a sangoma or a kobela and whatnot, and you're always drawn to herbs, like always drawn to go dig up herbs, you're probably Ngaka Tshupye. Okay, number four, I've already spoken about that. They see mostly through their intuition. And when I'm saying fully fatla, it doesn't necessarily mean or they work through intuition like Mandau spirit ancestors, but their intuition, I'm referring to their dreams and their visions. Okay, when they sleep, they connect with their ancestors, and that is how they work best. Okay, number five, you come from a lineage of healers who have never went to initiate. Okay, so when you're in Ngaka Tshupye, another like scenario could be that is when in your family lineage, most of the healers did not undergo initiation. Okay, most of them. It doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, if my grandfather was a sangoma who didn't undergo initiation but help people, then get Ngaka Tshupye automatically. But in most cases, that is how you get the gift from. That is how you know that you might actually be one at the end of the day. Okay. And lastly, the ancestors guide you in your dreams as opposed to intuition. Okay, I spoke about that when I spoke about Lefat and whatnot. Okay, so how do they appease the ancestors? Okay, so firstly, I wrote they don't or aren't required to get assistance from a Gobela. Like I said in so many times throughout these videos, you are not supposed to get a Gobela. You are not allowed to. Your ancestors are your guides. Okay, so this is where your ancestors are supposed to show you what to do and when to do it and how to do it. And I'm gonna paraphrase back on the video I made, the last video I made, the Nzuza Spirit video. I spoke about the ancestors that govern an Nzuza person being the ones that tell this person what okay, if they want to initiate this person underwater, they'll say what okay, this is what we want. On this particular day, in this particular time, you're gonna go to this particular river or this particular place. And when you get there, you're gonna perform this and this and this kind of ritual. And once you're done, we will do this and this for you, or whatever it is that their guidance will be in that particular time. So with them, it is the same thing. They do not need assistance from a Gobela. Their ancestors are their Gobela. Okay. Number 2, in instances whereby they also have Mdao spirit, you will need to be taken with barrel. Okay, so this is where more things get a bit different. Okay, so here's the thing, name. Like I said, most people, they have a lot of gifts from different sides of their families and whatnot. So there are instances whereby Ngaka Tshupye, ne? But it doesn't go alone. It also comes with them Dawe spirit, and that is where things are a bit different for you. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need a Gobela, but what you need is someone, a healer of any kind, whom your ancestors will choose for you, of course. This healer is supposed to take you to the river and evoke them Dawe spirit. Remember that them Dawe spirit needs to be evoked, regardless of whether it walks along alone, or it works with Nguni, or it works with Nzuza, or it works with Balozi. Regardless of the kind of gift it works with, Mundao always needs to be barreled. Okay, that's a new term for me. It needs to be barreled. So yeah, it needs to be barreled. Okay, so that is when we don't only Ngaka Tshupye, but you also have them Dawe spirit. Things may be a bit different for you. Appeasement process may be a lot different for you, Moilord. You might actually need or have to go visit another healer or a Gobela to take you through certain processes that actually are for that other spirit that it comes with. Okay, number 3 is whereby I said they need to visit the rivers and mountains constantly to strengthen their spiritual gift. Okay, this one goes to every single healer, whether you're a prophet or a Sangoma or Nguni spirit or Mdawe spirit, whatever gift that you have. One of the major things is constantly strengthening Moya Wahao. Okay, and this is where there are so many different things that we do. There are teas for that, there are mini rituals, there are just so many things. Some dance but to actually strengthen their spiritual gift. And one of the major important things that a healer needs to do at all times is to go to the river, is to go to the mountains, connect with the soil, connect with earth, connect with nature. Ne? And with Ngaka Tshupye, going to the rivers and the mountains is extremely important for them, because that is how they need to stay connected with nature. They need to stay connected with their spiritual guides, and they need to be strong spiritually. They need to continue to be strong spiritually, né? So they need to visit those places in most cases. Okay, so that is it regarding the Ngaka Tshupyes. And one thing I want to emphasize again is that we need to stop looking down on them. Okay, I'm guilty of that too. I'm gonna say that again. I'm not proud of myself. I just didn't have enough knowledge. But one thing that I've learned about them in this mini research is that they are very skilled, and they are actually also very powerful. They are very, very powerful. And the fact that they are as independent as they are, and they are able to help people in the way that they are, just means that there is a respect. Because at the end of the day, we are healers, but our journey is different. Okay, some need to go to a Gobela, and even when we get to our Gobela, what they will do for Miguel Letwasan will not be the same as they do to the next Letwasan that they have. Ne? So they are our gifts are all very different and all of that. Anywho, I talk too much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it had shed a bit of light on the spirits. If there's anything else you want to add on to what I said, because like I said, I do not have like a vast knowledge of them as I wish that I would, please leave your info on the comment section. I'll be more than happy to hear about it. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Have a beautiful one. Yeah.